And we just stood in the hallway where there were no windows and just held each other. It was that quick.
I covered him up with blankets and pillows and started praying because I could hear it. My ears started popping, and I just froze there in the spot.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Larson.
And I'm Maria Chandler.
A devastating day across central Illinois after severe storms tear through the area, destroying homes and businesses in their path.
The damage stretches across multiple counties. We're told more than 100 homes are affected in Pekin. Nearly 50 are unlivable. And here's what we know at this hour. The Tazewell County coroner has confirmed a Washington man is dead. Details surrounding the fatality are scarce. More information is expected to be released Monday. At least 50 victims have been treated for injuries at Peoria hospitals. Tornadoes touched down in Washington, Pekin, and East Peoria. The Red Cross has set up shelters at Crossroads United Methodist Church and the Evangelical United Methodist Church in Washington. The First United Methodist Church in East Peoria and the Avanti's Dome in Pekin have also been set up. About 140,000 people are still without power in Illinois. Multiple schools are closed. You can find that information at the bottom of your screen or on our website, ciproud.com.
And we begin our team coverage tonight with WMBD's Alexandra Suter, who's in hard-hit Washington, Illinois.
Alexandra, what's it like out there tonight?
Bob and Maria, it's very somber, it's very quiet. You would never know, even by looking behind me, the destruction that was done here today. Police are still blocking off the roads, not letting anybody in and out of Washington unless you are a resident, just out of safety concerns. Now, there are many shelters set up and many safe places that you can go if you need to, or if you want to check on family members, relatives. You can make calls to those places, but right now police are still urging you to stay away from this area.
Explain what that was like, what that was like for you.
Maria, it's really hard to put into words. I mean, we pulled up just minutes after this huge storm blew through and saw people seeing their homes on the ground for the first time, climbing out of the wood, climbing out, not even knowing where their front door was or their driveway, and, you know, children seeing this, dogs on the street. It was just very, very surreal, and obviously really thinking of all those people and hoping that everyone is okay as they continue to search and rescue.
Alexandra, also, I understand there was a lot of help. Everybody certainly was hands on deck because Peoria, East Peoria, or Peoria City and County and fire departments also responded. And we understand from as far away as Champaign, there are rescue workers out there tonight.
Bob, we're seeing a lot of people from across the state coming to this area. Obviously something that a lot of people haven't dealt with here before, just a huge magnitude of disaster and grief. And Washington's really trying to focus in on their residents and their people and getting everybody stable and making sure they're okay. So it's important to have other county officials and other city officials from the surrounding areas out here to block traffic and to do those more minor duties so that Washington can focus on its people.
And again, Alexandra, you said there was a curfew in order tonight. Schools closed tomorrow. Really everyone just trying to take as many precautions as possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a curfew at 6 o'clock, and since then, and since it got dark, the traffic has really stopped. We haven't seen much of anything going on, so it's good that people are listening to those rules. And obviously with school closing, a lot of these schools are being used as safe havens for people, so something to monitor, and go to our website for more information on all those things and when they will be opening and running as normal as possible. Reporting from Washington, Alexandra Suter. Bob and Maria, back to you.
All right, Alexandra, thank you so much for that update. Well, earlier today, she spoke with residents in the area, and here's some of what they had to say about this destructive storm.
I was watching the news, and they said tornado down near Pekin, and so I'll go outside, and I heard this it's like a train, like a loud train. I said, "This isn't right." I said, "It's not thunder, it's not," and it just kept coming, getting louder. And so then I went in the basement, and about 10 seconds later, I felt the house shaking, and waited about probably a minute. Then I came back up and saw what you're seeing here.
I stepped outside, heard it coming, and ran downstairs, grabbed my daughter, took cover, and they went through, and a couple seconds later, daylight, the house was gone.
And we'll have another live report from Washington inside the destruction just a little bit later.
Chief Meteorologist Marcus Bailey joins us now with our complete team coverage tonight. There were more than 70 reports of tornadoes, unbelievable, across the Midwest today, several of them right here in central Illinois.
The first report of tornadoes came through just before 11 o'clock this morning.
That's right, and I add to that too, 6 fatalities for all of these storms, mainly in Illinois, has made it the deadliest tornado outbreak in the month of November. And those numbers may go up as we continue to check in on everything. Meteorologist Carissa Sanford breaks down where and when they happened.
The first tornado warning was issued around 10:50 Sunday morning, and that's when we started to see reports coming in from spots like Pekin. The first one about 3 miles north of Pekin, a brief touchdown reported around 10:55 a.m. at Route 29 and Route 98. Then we started to get reports around 11 o'clock. That's just how fast these storms were moving. Around 11 o'clock from East Peoria, reports that homes were damaged and power lines were down. Then another report of a large tornado near the intersection of 474 and I-74 in Tazewell County. Also reports of roof damage in that area around 11:04 a.m. Then around 11:05 a.m. in Washington, reports of numerous homes damaged and a large and extremely dangerous tornado confirmed near Washington around 11:05. Then the storm system continued to move to the east and northeast. Metamora around 11:11 a.m. Sunday morning, reports of a large tornado and a cell phone tower down just to the east of Metamora. It then proceeded towards Roanoke and near Benson. In Roanoke, a large rain-wrapped tornado was reported about 2 miles west of Roanoke proper. That is very scary when we hear about rain-wrapped tornadoes because it makes it almost impossible to see that circulation. From there, it continued to make its way to the northeast through LaSalle County to the small town of Dana, where the report of a tornado on the ground just north of the Woodford-LaSalle County line, some power flashes associated with that. It proceeded to move up to the north and northeast towards the Chicagoland area through spots like Will, Grundy, and Cook County, and continued to make its way out of the area with a quick line of rain and strong winds behind that. Back to you guys.
The National Weather Service will conduct surveys on the intensity of the tornadoes tomorrow, so we'll have a better understanding of that.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, as rescue workers and disaster aid continue to make their way into the city of Washington, WMBD has been following the latest on the devastation from the start of the storms. WMBD's Ashley Michaels is live in Washington tonight. Ashley, what is the atmosphere like where you are right now?
Well, you don't need me to tell you, it is absolutely devastating out here. As you all know, hundreds of homes have been badly damaged, many of those completely leveled, like the one I'm standing inside right now. Believe it or not, a 3 or 4 bedroom house used to stand right behind me, and I'm actually inside what used to be their garage right now. You can see their car is sitting right here with just littered with debris. Most of their house is in their front yard or across the street, and let me tell you, this is something no one in this town ever thought would happen here.
Well, I was just heading out to go get some breakfast, and some neighbors flashed me down and said, "Get back in the house, there's this tornado coming."
Brian Young says he didn't think too much of that neighbor's warning until he saw the tornado headed straight for his house.
You know, they say it sounds like a freight train. That's kind of a cliche thing, but it did sound like a freight train. You just heard the and I looked over my back woods, and I saw the woods pick up, and then I saw a debris field coming at me.
Young's whole family is okay, and their house has minor damage.
We lost about half our roof and most of the windows, but that's monetary stuff. That's easily fixed.
But other parts of Washington weren't so lucky. Entire neighborhoods are gone, and many homes that are still standing are just a shell.
This is our son and daughter-in-law and 2 children live here.
And what are your thoughts when you look at this house now?
I'm just devastated. I just feel sick.
The people that live here say it's one of their worst nightmares come true. It makes them think twice about severe weather.
It's kind of on your bucket list, like, hey, you go see a tornado, but not actually live through one and see it come over the hill like it did here.
There have been a lot of people from this neighborhood driving in and out all night long, trying to survey the damage, see what's left of their house. But this isn't the only neighborhood that was badly damaged. In other parts of the town, homes are completely leveled, and there is still active search and rescue going on right now into the night to make sure all people are accounted for. In this neighborhood, neighbors say everyone they know is safe and sound, and they say they're lucky to be alive, but it's going to take a long time to clean up from this.
Okay, Ashley, thank you very much. Well, we continue our coverage of today's deadly storms, which hit Tazewell County the hardest.
People still trying to come to grips with what actually happened in their communities in really such a short span of time.
Yeah, we're going through the pictures of the destruction, so we begin with hard-hit Washington.
And it really was the hardest hit. In Washington itself, it seems like along Wellington Drive, there was also parts of Trails Edge subdivision, also the new parts of Washington Estates, that's out near Dallas and Kruger Road, really hard hit and near the golf course. And we understand the auto zone was leveled.
And another bizarre part of the story showing just how powerful these supercell tornadoes can be. We have reports of some personal effects of Washington residents being found near I-80 near Seneca and beyond, given the amount of destruction and the dangerous nature of wandering around with downed power lines and debris. Police, of course, have clamped a curfew on the city, which has endured the worst storm damage that many of us have ever seen.
Rescue and search crews are far from away as Champaign and Christian County, we talked about this earlier, are assisting local police who continue to search through the rubble. Police marked houses as they went through. They're checking for people possibly trapped in the rubble.
Now we go to Pekin, and we start off of Coolidge Drive. As you can see, there were a lot of trees, power lines down on cars, on homes, and lots of wind damage as well because of the very strong winds associated with both the thunderstorms and also the tornadoes. That is 11th and Truman. Truman, another area just off of Truman that was affected. 2nd and Sheridan, Sheridan and Parkway. Again, no serious injuries as far as we know, but police tell us Salvation Army has set up shelters, and there is a shelter at the Avantes Dome as well tonight.
And now on to East Peoria. Photographer Brian Anton and I were covering this damage today. This is on Pinecrest Drive that you're looking at now. And keep in mind, people were trying to deal with what had just happened, that they had just seen, witnessed to their homes. Then more rain, extreme winds were passing through the area to this devastated area. The windows blown out of this home here, you can see. This is on Shady Lane. This neighborhood was in complete disarray. This house is actually the front of the subdivision, and essentially the damage just pushes back into the neighborhood. That's a flipped over RV. You could tell distinctly where the tornado went through. One house would be completely damaged, and then next to it, the house was untouched. One thing, though, that I did want to point out is just the amazing human spirit of people. The fact that everybody, despite losing nearly everything, just wanted to help each other. Stuff didn't matter. They said they were going door to door, just making sure everybody was okay, and that was the resounding message for the whole day, is just thankfully that they were all safe.
And those are the stories you're going to be hearing for the days to come. And something to add to that as well, the National Weather Service in Lincoln can't be thanked enough. It's so difficult to forecast tornadoes like that. And when they issued the warning to give people enough lead time in a storm that was moving 65 to 70 miles per hour.
Incredible.
I mean, that's booking. And able to get the warning out quick enough for these people to seek shelter, you know, you've got to applaud them. They just did yeoman's work and saved lives.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Well, this all began over in the Pekin area. There were no major injuries in north parts of Pekin, but residents are devastated. Over 100 homes are damaged, many a total loss, but only minor injuries reported there. So far, Pekin authorities say no one is missing, but by the look of some of the damage, residents are shocked it wasn't worse. WMBD's Eugene Daniel continues our team coverage.
The scene near Pekin's Lakeside Cemetery is troubling. Trees and power lines are down, homes severely damaged, some structures completely gone.
The garage was sitting there with the truck. It's gone. It's laying there.
One resident said his neighborhood looked like a war zone. Across the northern parts of Pekin, damage is widespread.
House is damaged all the way from 2nd and Sheridan to 2nd and Parkway, or I'm sorry, Sheridan and Parkway, and then north. And homes with some just broken windows, to some roofs gone, to some, you know, total devastation.
And here on Truman Street in Pekin, homeowners have their work cut out for them, picking up the pieces behind the tornado. And you can see some of the devastation. In fact, where I'm standing right now was a garage.
Over by the Casey's gas station.
Authorities are going door to door, checking on residents. Crews are working on power outages and multiple gas leaks.
We're going to try to call our insurance man.
Jim and Diane Bruin are busy on the phones, figuring out what to do with their damage.
And I tell you one thing, I walked in, I said, what the heck? And saw it was just all that stuff on the floor, and the ceiling came down.
Down the street, Jeff Lehman's hands are full, but this won't keep him down.
We're going to be all right. I mean, the shed and the garage, stuff's strewn all over the place. These folks are dealing with what they're dealing with, but we'll make it through it. And we're just so grateful that the Lord preserved so many lives here.
In Pekin, Eugene Daniel, WMBD 31 News.
We heard that a lot today. Pekin police blocked off many roads in the area near Lakeside Cemetery, and a curfew has been set into place until 6 tomorrow morning in Pekin. Now, this will include areas north of Sheridan Road to Valley Drive. Vehicles will be allowed to drive along Route 29 as well as Parkway, but no vehicle or foot traffic will be allowed during these times. People are advised to avoid the area, and authorities say they do not need any more volunteers at this time.
A tornado ripped through East Peoria around 11 a.m. this morning, devastating areas in the southeast edge of the city near Springfield Road. We were out of the damage, and neighbors tell me they're just lucky to be alive. The storm caused major damage to 20 homes in the area. It all happened around Springfield Road, Pinecrest Drive, Rustic Road, Shady Knolls Drive, Bloomington Road, and in the Chute Elementary School area. A gloomy Sunday morning turned into total chaos for people in East Peoria.
I've been here 47 years. Never had this.
We saw, the clouds swirling and saw two tails forming and just saw huge amounts of debris blowing, shingles flying.
Wind, rain, it looked like snow. Everything was blowing everywhere.
And black.
Once that storm hit, it brought with it extreme devastation, ripping off roofs, leveling garages, leaving homes scattered across the yard.
Our shed is gone. This neighbor's garage is gone. Her stuff is gone.
It happened faster than anyone could have ever imagined.
I went back to that end of the house and I heard some glass. We don't have any windows on that end of the house. And my husband came back and I said, I don't know what to do. And we just stood in the hallway where there were no windows and just held each other. It was that quick.
Leaving an aftermath no one was ready for. Joyce Cordell's daughter's home was untouched.
I feel really fortunate whenever I look around.
She says it's nothing short of a miracle. She was alone with her grandson and couldn't get him to the basement.
I covered him up with blankets and pillows and started praying because I could hear it. My ears started popping, and I just froze there in the spot. God was looking out for us because we're safe.
Neighbors a few blocks away, all across the community, echoing that same message and counting not what they lost on this day, but everything they still have.
We're all safe. This can be repaired.
Hang on.
We're just safe. Thank God we're safe.
We talked to East Peoria Mayor Dave Mingus and East Peoria Police today. The biggest thing they say they need from people right now is to stay away from these damaged areas if at all possible. There are still a lot of downed power lines, like you could see, and debris as cleanup efforts start.
Well, even though the cleanup effort is underway, that doesn't mean the dangers are over. It's a developing story that we're following at this time. Emergency vehicles are still hard at work in Washington tonight. Illinois State Police report many downed power lines and also gas leaks. Because of the water main breaks, state police are asking people to conserve water. Relief efforts are underway, trying to help people who have lost their homes. But shelters are also struggling with power outages. Washington's mayor says right now they're just trying to settle the chaos.
If people want to help, right now we need you to stay away. We've got so many people on site and trying to get into our city, and we understand and we want your help, but give us a day to take a look at this thing in the morning and see where we're at.
Once again, Washington police are enforcing a curfew tonight, which began about 4 hours ago.
Well, a lot of people right now are looking for help or asking how they can help someone themselves. Aaron Miller of the Red Cross Central Illinois chapter joins us now live in the studio. Aaron, what's the Red Cross doing right now?
The Red Cross is really focusing on making sure that everyone who lost their home today
or has a damaged home has someplace to stay tonight. So we have shelters that are open. We're working to make sure that there's food and water, not only for people who are affected by the storm, but also people who are responding, part of the search and rescue efforts. So there's a lot of planning right now at the chapter, what we're going to be doing tomorrow and how many people we'll be feeding.
And really, in the beginning stages when something like this happens, everyone, it's chaotic. It's hard for people to take a step back and say, okay, let's gather our thoughts and figure out what we need to do. How can people get through that? What's your advice to them?
People want to do so much to help, and like you said, right now we've had so many calls from people, 200 calls today, people wanting to volunteer. You know, we have people that want to collect items. You know, right now, the best thing that people can do if they want to be able to help, they can do an online fundraiser for the Central Illinois tornadoes through our redcross.org website. They can donate on redcross.org. Tomorrow we'll be meeting with some of our community partners and we'll find out who's actually collecting the items, and we'll make sure that we get that information out so people know what they can do.
So these people that have been extremely impacted, lost homes possibly, what kind of relief can they expect from you aside from shelter if they need it?
Well, of course, the food and water, then we'll move to relief items, making sure that they have the items that they need to, you know, start cleaning up the mess that they have right now. And then we'll also be working with them along the way, making sure that they have the proper connections to the resources that are available both through the state, here locally, and anything that the Red Cross can do to help, we'll of course do it.
And really quickly, we've talked a lot about emergency kits. How much does something like that help in an instance like this?
This is a perfect example that this can happen here. So when we always talk about disaster kits, you know, especially if you're someone that was trapped in their home, you want to make sure that you have those items, the flashlight, the weather radio, water and food, just because it takes time for people to get to you.
Okay, Erin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. And of course, we'll put all of that information on how people can get help and resources on our website, ciproud.com. Well, hospitals have been busy as well today because of the storm. OSF St. Francis Incident Command Center is shut down after being open all day. Originally, OSF St. Francis reported seeing 37 tornado victims, with 8 of those in trauma. Now the hospital reports 5 victims in the emergency department, with 3 of those in trauma. OSF also says they will not be able to offer outpatient services at Washington's 5 Points tomorrow. Over at Methodist, there were only 8 to 10 related injuries, nothing serious. And keep it right here as we continue our team coverage of the destruction from today's deadly tornadoes.